shouldn't have listened.
I moved into the Harrowick Place rental because it was the only house in my price range that didn't look like a college frat pit. Old, yes. Dusty, yes. But the structure was solid, the lake view was perfect, and the owner, a tired man named Grant, barely charged anything. "Just don't go looking for trouble in the basement," he said. He wasn't joking. He looked afraid when he said it. I thought it was some quirky old house humor. It wasn't. The first night was quiet. Too quiet, now that I think about it. I didn't hear pipes, creaking, wind against siding, the usual old house soundtrack. Just a deep stillness that felt like the air had settled long before I arrived. My bedroom smelled faintly of cedar. When I opened the window, I noticed something strange. My reflection in the glass looked slightly delayed, blinking a fraction of a second after I did. I blamed exhaustion and went to bed. At 2:14 a.m., the house shifted. Not physically, perceptually. Like someone standing in the hallway had taken a step closer to my room. I got up and checked. No one. But as I turned back toward the bedroom, I saw something impossible. The living room wasn't the living room, not in the dark. Furniture I'd never seen before filled the space. A floral armchair, a smoking stand, a rotary phone, an ashtray with 3 cigarettes still burning, a film of dust floating through the air as if the room had been disturbed only seconds before. I blinked hard. The modern furniture came back, but the smell remained. Stale tobacco. I slept with the light on. Night 2 was worse. I woke to laughter downstairs. Not joyful, not mocking, just present. A man and a woman speaking in low tones. I opened my bedroom door slowly, listening. The voices were coming from the living room. Then the sound cut, not faded, cut. I went downstairs and stopped halfway because the air shifted suddenly, colder in front of me, warmer behind me. And the living room had changed again. But not like the night before. This time it was younger. A bare bulb hung from the ceiling. A man in suspenders knelt on the floor, crying, hands covered in something dark. A woman's shoe lay near him, tipped over. The air pulsed with thick heat, like I'd stepped into the moment right after something horrible happened. My brain fought it. Hallucination, dream, stress. But my body knew. I froze on the stairs as the man in suspenders slowly turned his head. He didn't look at me. He looked through me, like I wasn't supposed to be there. The house snapped back to normal again, but the staircase under my feet had dust on it. I hadn't seen dust anywhere in the house before. The third day, I asked Grant if anyone had ever died here. He paused too long. "Every house has its history," he said, "but this one likes to hold on to it." "What does that mean?" He didn't answer. When I returned home that night, the smell hit me before I entered. Strong antiseptic, like a hospital. My stomach tightened. I walked inside and felt heat radiate from the kitchen. Not warm, but feverish heat. The kitchen wasn't a kitchen. Not right away. Bright white tiles appeared over the old hardwood. A metal table stood in the center. A woman lay on it, breathing shallowly, her chest rising and falling with visible effort. A man in a blood-spotted apron leaned over her. Her lips moved. I couldn't hear her. Then the man said something I could hear. "It has to be done. It has to be done." The scene vanished, but the warmth didn't. My hands were sweating. The wooden table in front of me had a fresh dent in it, one I was certain wasn't there earlier. I didn't eat dinner. Night 3, the house didn't wait until after midnight. It started at sundown. The lights flickered. Static filled the air. Not electrical static, but the kind you feel in your bones before a storm. And the basement door cracked open an inch. I didn't want to look. I looked anyway. The basement wasn't dark. A soft amber glow pulsed from below, flickering like lantern light. And in that glow, a small shape sat at the bottom of the stairs. A child. Legs curled to chest, face hidden behind both arms. Rocking. Slowly. I whispered, "Hey, are you okay?" The rocking stopped. The head lifted. The child didn't have a face. Not like a shadow, not blank, just smeared like wet paint dragged across a canvas. The house snapped back again. But my basement door now hung fully open, even though I'd never stepped closer than 2 feet. Something inside the house wanted me to see its memories. Not ghosts. Not repeats. Recreations. Trapped moments replayed into physical form. By the 4th night, they no longer reset instantly. I walked into the bathroom and nearly screamed. A woman stood in front of the mirror, combing her hair, long dark strands dripping with water. She turned slowly, eyes hollow, cheeks sunken, a bruise on her neck. I stumbled backward. She followed. Not fast, not aggressive, but in a straight line, like she was walking toward where someone else once stood. Like I happened to be in that exact place. The lights flickered and she vanished, but the mirror stayed fogged and wet. I wiped it clean. The back of my shirt was damp. On day 5, the house escalated. I didn't see echoes anymore. I entered them. I walked into the living room and stepped directly into another decade. The wallpaper changed. The air smelled of mildew. A man sat in a chair with his head tilted unnaturally backward, mouth open. A low gurgling came from his throat. I backed away and hit a wall that wasn't there before. The room tightened, walls shifting to match some blueprint that no longer existed. The man in the chair fell forward onto his knees with a sickening crack, and the house snapped back to present. But blood, thin, diluted, pinkish, dripped from my ceiling for almost a minute. I packed. I was done, but the house wasn't. As I grabbed my keys, the entire structure groaned, not like wood bending, like something remembering how it used to break. The floorboards slanted, the hallway elongated, and the front door drifted further away as though the house wanted me to witness something before leaving. The scent changed. Smoke, burning cloth, charred skin. A woman appeared in front of the door. Not in the past, not an echo. Right there, present, full body. Her dress was scorched. Her hair burned away on one side. Her skin blistered and peeling, but her eyes, God, her eyes were aware, watching, processing me. She lifted her hand. Her fingers were curled as if she was still gripping something, a knob, a match, a latch, I don't know. Smoke rose from her arm as she pointed behind me. I turned. The walls were melting, not physically, but visually. Behind the peeling layers, different wallpapers appeared, different decades, different rooms, different events. And in all of them, someone was dying. The house wasn't haunted. The house was remembering. Every death, every moment, every scream trapped between its walls. And it wanted to show me one more memory, one that hadn't happened yet. Mine. I ran, shoving past the burned woman. My hand passed through her like air heated by a flame. The front door opened as if someone on the other side pulled it. I didn't look back. I didn't take anything. When I reached my car, breath shaking, I saw it. Through the window, reflected faintly in my windshield, the house was still shifting. Walls moving, rooms bending, light flickering between decades. And a new figure stood at the living room window. Not an echo. Me. Standing inside the house, watching myself leave. The house had already added me to its memories. I didn't believe the rumors about the Aldridge property. Every small town has a house people whisper about, and I've lived in enough places to know most haunted homes are just old lumber complaining under temperature shifts. But Aldridge was different the moment I stepped inside. The air didn't feel stale. It felt recent, like someone had been living there an hour before I arrived. The living room lights flickered when I tried the switch, not because of old wiring, but because the bulbs seemed to pulse as if adjusting to my presence. And there was one door no one mentioned in the listing photos. A narrow wooden door tucked into the wall between the dining room and staircase, newer than the rest of the house, painted a slightly different shade of white, unlabeled, unnumbered, and locked. I didn't think much of it that first night. I should have. The house spoke on my second night, not with voices, but with sounds of motion, soft footsteps on hardwood, a chair being dragged lightly, a low hum like a distant conversation, none of it directional. It sounded as if the noise came from inside the walls. I walked from room to room, listening. Everywhere I went, the sound stayed ahead of me. But when I returned to the dining room, the locked door was slightly open. I didn't remember touching it. I didn't open it. Yet there it was, a dark sliver of shadow visible through the gap. I pushed the door closed. It resisted. Not hard, just enough to feel like something pressed gently back from the other side. That night, the house exhaled when I tried to sleep. A warm exhale, as if someone was lying directly behind me. The next morning, the locked door stood fully open. Inside was a small room, smaller than a closet, barely large enough for a chair, and sitting in the center of the floor was an object. A shoe. Men's size, old leather, scuffed, laces gone. I didn't own anything like it. I kicked it aside, annoyed, thinking maybe the realtor forgot to clear the place properly. But the shoe slid back to the exact center the moment I turned away. Not fast, not dramatic, just slow enough to prove it wasn't a trick of gravity. I shut the door and placed a chair against it. That night, something knocked. Not asking permission, not threatening, just a slow, rhythmic tapping from inside that little room long after midnight. Calm, measured, patient. I didn't open it. But the next morning, the chair blocking the door was moved. Not thrown, not tipped, simply moved. A few inches aside, as if someone inside the small room had nudged it gently, confidently. The door was open again. The same shoe in the center, but this time, the floor around it was covered in thin, dusty footprints. Bare footprints, adult-sized, dozens of them, but none leading out of the room. That day I called the owner. He sighed when I explained. "That door shouldn't open," he said quietly. "It shouldn't even be there." "What does that mean?" "It only appears for people the house wants." "Wants for what?" Another long silence. "For remembering." He hung up. That evening, I sat in the dining room staring at the door, waiting for something. I didn't know what. The house was too still, the air too heavy. Like holding my breath was the only thing keeping the sound from returning. Just past midnight, I woke on the dining room floor. I don't remember falling asleep, and the door was wide open again. The shoe was gone. In its place was something else. A coat. Men's. Dark gray wool, damp around the collar. Slumped as if someone had just taken it off after coming in from the rain. Inside the little room, the air felt colder, and the smell. Wet earth, rust, and something stale like hospital linens. I touched the coat. It was still warm. When I backed away, my heel slid on something. Wet mud. A long, dark smear across the hardwood floor led from the little room to the hallway, as if someone dripping with mud had walked into the living room. My body seized with cold. I slowly followed the trail. It stopped behind the couch. I leaned forward, heart hammering. Nothing. But when I stood upright, a figure stood in the reflection of the dark TV screen. A man. Tall, shoulders bent, head tilted sharply downward, coat dripping mud, face obscured by a shadow deeper than the room's darkness. He wasn't in the room, just in the reflection. I spun around. Empty. When I looked back at the TV, he was gone. I slept in my car. The next morning, the house looked untouched. Footprints gone, coat gone, shoe gone, door closed. I told myself I hallucinated everything out of moving stress. I showered, shaved, tried to feel normal. And then something small thumped behind me. The shoe. Sitting perfectly centered on the bathroom mat. That night, I barricaded the little door with heavy furniture, a dresser, 2 chairs, a box of books. I wedged the basement ladder between the doorknob and floor. At 3:19 a.m., every object slid aside. Not thrown, not toppled. Slid, scraping gently across the floor until the doorway was clear. The door opened, very slowly. The coat lay inside, this time folded, neat, placed intentionally. And beside it, a newspaper clipping. I picked it up. Local man missing after falling from pier, body not recovered. The photo was the man from the reflection. I dropped the clipping, heart racing. A sound rose from behind the staircase. Wet footsteps, deliberate, heavy, dragging water soaked into wood. I backed away as a hand, pale, water-swollen, dripping, wrapped around the edge of the wall. Another appeared above it. Then the head, tilted, broken. Eyes open but unfocused, mouth hanging. He stepped into view, soaked from head to toe, attire identical to the coat and shoe. Water pooled beneath him, spreading across the floor. He didn't look angry. He looked lost. He took a step toward me. The lights exploded into brightness, every bulb in the house blinding white. The man froze. His body flickered as if the light pulled his shape apart. The house changed around him. For a split second, the walls dissolved into a memory. A storm. A pier. Rain hitting water. A man standing alone gripping the railing. Something or someone pulling him backward. He fell. Not into water. Into darkness. Into nothing. The house snapped back. The man collapsed onto the floor, then disappeared. Completely, leaving behind only the muddy footprints. I didn't move for an hour. When I finally stood, the little door creaked. Inside, the chair I had never placed there was now rocking, slowly, gently. And on the floor was a new clipping. Second body from 1978 still unfound. Authorities believe woman may have fallen in attempt to help husband. Search efforts called off. I stared at it. A faint, wet footprint appeared behind me. Small, bare, feminine. Then another, and another, leading toward the basement door. The air pressure changed, pulled toward the basement. The house was remembering again. Not the man this time. His wife. I backed out the front door without looking back. I locked the house and left everything behind. But every night since, at exactly 3:19 a.m., I hear soft, dripping water collecting in the corner of my bedroom. And sometimes, just before I fall asleep, I hear footsteps pacing my hallway. Slow, wet, paired. 2 sets. A husband and wife, remembering how they died and looking for the one memory still missing. The moment they found me. I first noticed the room on the second day, and I swear to this moment it wasn't there before. A sunroom, rear of the house, wall-to-wall windows, curtains drawn. A single wooden rocking chair facing outward toward the yard. When I viewed the house, the realtor and I walked through every inch. No sunroom. The floor plan printed on the listing? No sunroom. The inspection report? No sunroom. And yet, on day 2, there it was. A perfect 5x7 extension of glass and silence. I thought I simply hadn't paid attention, but when I pushed the door open, something in the air told me that wasn't true. The temperature dropped 10 degrees as soon as I stepped inside. My breath visibly fogged. It was the only cold spot in the entire house. The rocking chair creaked once, just once, as if someone had stood up from it moments before. The cushion was still indented, warm. I left quickly. That night, a faint scraping sound woke me, like wood gently brushing tile. I got up with my phone flashlight and walked toward the hallway. The sound grew louder the closer I got to the sunroom door. When I turned the corner, my blood ran cold. The rocking chair was no longer in the sunroom. It was in the hallway, facing me, rocking. Once, twice, then still. I stepped backward slowly and the wood under my feet felt damp, but not from water, from condensation, from the sudden temperature change behind me. The sunroom door was open now, curtains drawn back, and in the reflection of the glass I saw movement behind me, soft, careful, deliberate. A figure passing across the hallway door, barely visible in the reflection, just the outline of a head and shoulder. I turned quickly. Nothing. The hallway was empty, but the rocking chair had moved again. Just a few inches, just enough to face slightly toward the dining room instead of me, as if turning to follow something or someone. I didn't sleep. The next morning, the chair was gone. I found it back in the sunroom, perfectly centered, perfectly still, facing the backyard. The cushion was cold now. Probably from the morning air, I told myself. Probably nothing. But later, while unpacking boxes, I found a folded photograph stuck behind the boiler. The edges were brittle, the ink faded, but I recognized enough to freeze in place. The sunroom. A woman sitting in the rocking chair, smiling slightly, and standing behind her, faint, blurred, barely visible, another woman. Same face, same body, same clothes, standing at her own shoulder like a double exposure. Except this wasn't a camera artifact. It was too clean, too sharp in shape, and too intentional. I checked the date printed on the back. 1981. The house record said the property was renovated in 1976. There was no record of additions after that, but the photo showed the sunroom exactly as it looked now. Exactly. Same curtains, same chair, same window frames. Meaning the room had been here in 1981, even though every official document insisted it did not exist. That night, right as I shut off the lamp, I saw someone moving from the corner of my eye, in my bedroom doorway. A woman, short hair, wearing a thin, pale dress. I sat upright, heart pounding. She didn't move, didn't blink, didn't sway, just stood there with her hands clasped in front of her, like she was politely waiting. "Hello?" I whispered. She took one step forward, only one. The floorboards didn't creak, the air didn't change. Her movement made no sound at all. But her shadow did not follow her. It stayed in the doorway, a perfect silhouette of her unmoving body. She took another step, silent, controlled. Her face still gentle. But the shadow behind her stepped forward, out of sync, faster, heavier. Wrong. I blinked, and she vanished. Both of them. But the air smelled faintly of lilacs. The sunroom smelled the same the next morning. Lilacs, dust, cold. The rocking chair wasn't in the sunroom this time. It was in the kitchen, beside the refrigerator, facing the sink. An old metal tray lay on the table beside it, dust-covered, with a single glass cup sitting upside down on it. I did not own that tray or that glass. I touched the cup. It was warm and slightly wet on the inside. A drinking glass doesn't get condensation inside unless something was just evaporating from it. I thought of the woman from the photo and the double behind her. I checked the county archives. In 1981, a woman named Clara Winslow lived here. She disappeared in early August, never found. Her sister reported that Clara often spoke of someone in the sunroom with her and claimed the house changed when she looked away. But the police records held a stranger detail. The sister said that Clara insisted the sunroom opens when it remembers. Opens, not exists. The next night, the house opened it again. I heard the soft sound of fabric brushing window glass. I walked toward the sunroom and saw the curtains pulled wide open. The moonlight washed over the rocking chair, which now rocked gently even though no windows were open. The air was freezing. I felt something pass behind me. Slow, cold. A pressure shift rather than a touch. In the window's reflection, I saw her again. Clara, sitting in the rocking chair facing the yard, body slightly transparent. And behind her, the second woman, the double, standing with her head tilted, staring right at me. I turned. Only Clara sat in the chair now. She looked up at me. Her eyes were swollen, not from crying, from drowning. Water pooled beneath the legs of the chair, spreading outward across the sunroom tiles. I stepped back. She raised her hand, palm up, as if offering something. And in an instant, the entire room changed. I wasn't in the sunroom anymore. I was in the same room as in the photograph, but younger, brighter, with sunlight pouring in. Clara sat in the chair, holding a cup of tea. The second woman, her sister, stood by the door. They were arguing. Clara said, "I saw her again. She stands behind me." The sister said, "Then stop sitting in this cursed room." Clara said, "She needs me to remember." The sister left the room. Clara remained. The memory dissolved. I was back in the cold sunroom. Clara was gone, but the chair rocked violently now, as if someone had stood up in a hurry, and behind me, the sister's voice whispered, "Tell me how she disappeared." My breath caught. The temperature climbed, not cold now, but hot, suffocating. The memory wasn't complete. The house was trying to recreate the missing ending, the disappearance. Not Clara's. Mine. The sunroom door slammed shut behind me. I ran to open it, but the glass had changed. It no longer showed the hallway. It showed water. Black water. Moonlight slicing across its surface. Someone submerged beneath it, reaching upward. Clara. Her eyes open, her mouth calling, her hair floating, pulling me toward the glass. I stepped back. The second woman, the double, appeared beside me, face twisted, jaw unhinged wider than it should go, as if screaming silently. She grabbed my shoulders. Her fingers burned ice cold into my skin. Everything went white, then quiet. I woke on the living room floor at sunrise, head pounding. The sunroom door was closed. Inside, the room was empty. No rocking chair, no curtains, no windows. Just a plain wall, as if the room had never existed. The real estate listing the next day? Updated magically. No sunroom, no extension, no glass room at all. But that night, while lying in bed drifting uneasily, I saw something reflected in the dark TV screen. A rocking chair. Back and forth. Back and forth. And behind it, a faint figure of a drowning woman staring at me through glass that no longer exists. And then I understood. The house wasn't remembering Clara's disappearance. It was waiting for mine. The house never felt dangerous when I first arrived. Unsettling, yes. Too quiet, maybe, but not dangerous. Not until the house started remembering someone who didn't die here. Someone who escaped. I only learned that later. At first, it was small things. A cup placed where I didn't leave it. Lights dimming in only one room. A door slightly open that I knew I had shut. Normal, old house behaviors. Except the house was built in 2015. Too new for settling. Too new for history. Yet something old lived inside it. On my third night, the living room carpet was damp when I stepped on it. Not from a leak, I checked the ceiling. The moisture was warm, almost sweaty. The house felt like it had been holding its breath. I wiped the carpet and went to bed. At 1:46 a.m., someone knocked on my bedroom door. Not loud, not frantic, just a polite, rhythmic 3 taps. I froze. The hallway light was off. I live alone. The knocking came again. 3 taps. Gentle. Waiting. "Who is it?" I whispered. The knocking stopped. When I opened the door, the hallway was strangely foggy. Not thick like smoke, but hazy, as if the air wasn't circulating properly. My bathroom door at the end of the hall was half open. A wet footprint, led inside. One footprint, bare, adult, left foot, pointing inward. I didn't go in. Instead, I turned on the hallway light. The haze vanished instantly. So did the footprint. The bathroom floor was bone dry. I told myself I was imagining things, sleep deprivation, new house stress. But when I returned to my bedroom, the door slowly closed behind me, by itself. And I swear I felt something brush past my back as it swung shut. Not cold, warm. Human temperature, warm. The next morning I found a mark on the inside of the bedroom door. 3 smudges, like fingertips, dragging downward. I called the builder to ask if anyone had ever been injured or died here. He laughed. "It's a new development. First owners everywhere. Nothing to worry about." But his tone shifted when I mentioned the address. A pause, a soft inhale. Then, "Who sold you that house?" "Jared, the listing agent." Another pause. "I didn't think he'd ever put that one back on the market," the builder muttered. "What happened?" Then he said something that trapped cold in my spine. "There was a death scheduled there." I frowned. "Scheduled? I don't mean officially. I mean," the builder hesitated. "The woman who rented that lot before construction, she filed a police report about someone stalking her. She vanished 2 days later. They never found her, but the security footage showed her running toward that empty lot in the middle of the night, running for her life." "Did she die there?" "That's the thing," he said. "No. The footage ends before anything happens. She's never seen again. There's no confirmed death, but the police assumed..." He stopped. "Himself." "Assumed what? That she died and the body disappeared? That someone chased her into the woods?" He was silent. "Why tell me this?" I asked. "Because the night before she vanished," he whispered, "she told the officers something strange. She said, 'The house is not built yet, but it already wants me dead.'" He hung up. I stood frozen, staring at the living room. The house felt different now. Awake. Listening. That night, the knocking returned. 3 taps. I didn't move. Behind the door, something breathed, slowly, steadily, in and out. I stepped back as quietly as I could. The door handle turned. Not fully, just a tiny rotation, like someone testing how much resistance it would give. Then it released. Soft, careful, patient. I didn't sleep. At 4:12 a.m., my bedroom lights flickered violently. I grabbed my phone flashlight. When I turned it on, someone was standing at the foot of my bed. A woman. Hair plastered to her face, clothes torn, eyes wide with fear so sharp it looked fresh, like she had been screaming moments before. Her whole body trembled. I gasped and stumbled backward. She raised a finger to her lips. "Shh." Her hand shook as she pointed to the bedroom door. Then the room changed. Not visually, atmospherically. The temperature dropped. The air tightened. Something stepped into the hallway outside. I didn't hear footsteps. I felt them. Heavy pressure through the floorboards. Breathing. Wet breathing, like lungs filling slowly with liquid. The woman at the foot of my bed mouthed words I couldn't hear, but I understood. "It's coming." The door handle twisted. The woman vanished, but the indentation she left on the rug remained. The door creaked open an inch. Darkness gathered at the threshold. Not absence of light, presence of something behind it. A sound came through the gap. 3 soft taps. On the inside of the door, right beside my face. I ran out the window. My foot hit the ground hard, pain shooting up my leg, but adrenaline carried me to the neighbor's yard. I pounded on the door until they let me in. I didn't return until morning, with 3 neighbors as company. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Inside, everything looked normal, except the bathroom. One long, wet footprint sat on the tile. Left foot. Bare. Adult. Not mine. Leading directly toward the bedroom. And on the bedroom door, 3 fresh drag marks, same as before, only deeper. Like fingernails had gouged the wood. As we stood there, the floorboards creaked behind us. All of us turned. The hallway deepened, the air darkening as if the house inhaled us into its memory. And in that shifting darkness, for the briefest half-second, we saw her. The woman who vanished before the house was built. Running, turning, screaming silently, reaching for a door that didn't exist yet, being pulled backward by something we could not see. The darkness snapped shut. She was gone. My neighbor whispered, voice shaking, "This house remembers her." And I understood. She had never died here. But the house believed she should have. And now it was trying to finish the memory. With me. That night, I booked a hotel, but at 1:46 a.m., the hotel room door shook with 3 soft taps. Polite, patient, waiting. The house wasn't finished with its memory. It had followed me, and it's only a matter of time before it tries again.